Tonight, when you finally sit down after a long day, you'll feel that familiar relief. Your weight sinks into the cushion, your feet go still, your spine settles into a shape it knows by heart. You take a deep breath, and the day's tension starts to drain away. It feels like a reward. But this reward is a lie. That chair you're sitting in, those shoes you kicked off by the door, they are, in a biological sense, slowly dismantling you. They have quietly reshaped your skeleton, rewired your posture, and sapped strength from muscles your ancestors relied on to survive. And the most unsettling part isn't that it's happening. It's that for 99.9% of human history, this would have been unthinkable. Your body was built for a world without chairs, a world without shoes, a world where comfort, as we define it, would have been a lethal trap. If just one of your direct ancestors had needed a padded seat and arch support to get through their day, you would not be reading this. Their survival, your origin story, depended on a body that was a masterpiece of dynamic, raw, adaptable strength. And what we've done in just a few hundred years is take that masterpiece and put it in a museum case, wondering why it's starting to crack. So let's rewind to the moment the first humans sat down on something that wasn't the ground. It wasn't a throne. It was a disaster. The survival crisis wasn't about finding a place to rest. It was about staying alive while you did. For over 2 million years, when a human sat, they squatted, or they knelt, or they sat cross-legged on the earth itself. Their hips were wide open, their spines long and stacked, their feet flat and flexible. This wasn't yoga, it was utility. From that position, you could spring up in an instant, to flee a predator, to throw a spear, to tend a fire. Your body was always ready, always engaged. The ground was your chair, and it never let you forget you were part of the world, not an observer of it. Now, imagine the first fixed seat. A tree stump, a carved stone. You sit, and your thighs go parallel to the ground. Your hips fold to a sharp 90-degree angle. For the first time, your glutes, the largest muscles in your body, shut off. The heavy bones of your pelvis, designed to transfer force down your legs and into the earth, now press straight down into a hard surface. The subtle, constant dance of tiny muscles in your feet and ankles goes silent. You are, for the first time, truly parked. This was a catastrophic trade. You gained a moment of ease and lost your biological connection to readiness. For our ancestors, that loss could mean death. A saber-toothed cat doesn't care if you're comfortable. A rival tribe won't wait for you to unfold your stiff legs. Your survival depended on a body that was a coiled spring, always. And the chair took that spring and replaced it with a passive, brittle statue, which makes what happened next so strange. Because we didn't just adopt the chair, we fell in love with it. We built an entire civilization around it. Thrones for kings, pews for prayer, desks for labor, sofas for leisure. We declared victory over the ground. We won our comfort. But our bodies never got the memo that the war was over. They are still wired for that ancient crisis, screaming at us from the inside out. In the only language they know, pain. Lower back pain isn't a design flaw. It's a protest. Your spine is a brilliant stack of bones separated by shock-absorbing discs. It's engineered to sway, to twist, to bear weight in graceful curves. But in a standard chair, that elegant S-curve collapses into a C. The lower back rounds. The discs get uneven pressure. The muscles that should be supporting you go slack or lock up in a desperate, static grip. This isn't a minor ache. It's your ancestral posture trying to break out of a cage it doesn't understand. And the cage has only gotten more padded. The modern office chair, with its lumbar support and adjustable arms, is a monument to fixing a problem we invented. It's like designing a better cigarette filter. Instead of questioning the smoke, we've spent centuries engineering the perfect chair when the problem was never the ground. It was leaving it. But the chair is only half the story, because before you even sit down, you commit another, older betrayal. You put on shoes. Tonight, when you took off your shoes, you might have felt that sigh of relief again. But that relief is the echo of a prison door opening. Your foot is a geological marvel. 26 bones, 33 joints, over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments, all working in concert to be a stable platform, a shock absorber, a spring, and a sensory organ. It is the only part of your body that was meant to be in constant, direct conversation with the earth. Now, picture your ancestor's foot, broad, splayed, with toes that could grip like fingers. The arch wasn't a high, rigid vault. It was a dynamic, muscular trampoline that activated with every step. The skin on the sole was tough, leathery, and packed with nerve endings that read the ground like a book. Feeling for the shift from grass to rock, the slope of a hill, the vibration of an approaching herd. That foot was your primary connection to the world. It was your eyes for the terrain beneath you. The modern shoe is a sensory deprivation chamber for your feet. It lifts the heel, cradles the arch, cushions the sole, and squeezes the toes into a narrow tomb. From the moment you learn to walk, you are taught to silence this vital organ. We swaddle it in foam and leather and call it protection. But protection from what? From feeling? From the very information that kept your ancestors from stumbling, from slipping, from stepping on a snake? The evidence is written in the wreckage. Bunions are not genetic inevitabilities. They are creations of the pointed toe box. Plantar fasciitis is the scream of an arch that has forgotten how to support itself, because it's been propped up by an orthotic crutch for decades. Weak ankles, fallen arches, hammer toes. These are not diseases of aging. They are diseases of shoes. Your foot is an atrophying genius, its wisdom muted under layers of modern comfort. And here is where the two conspire together. Shoes lock your feet into a passive, heel-striking gait. Chairs lock your hips and glutes into oblivion. You walk to your chair with dead feet, then sit with a dead posterior. The entire kinetic chain of human movement, from foot to core, is severed. You are living in a body where the most powerful engines are either silenced or firing all wrong. It's no wonder your back hurts. It's no wonder your feet ache. Your body is a symphony where the percussion and bass sections have gone mute, and the violins are trying desperately to carry the whole song. This sounds like a simple story of degeneration. Comfort makes us weak, but that's where the science takes a turn so sharp. It will change how you see your own body in this very moment, because the real twist isn't about what we lost. It's about what we never needed to begin with. For decades, the narrative was clear. Chairs and shoes caused our modern pains. But a rogue group of anthropologists and biomechanists began to ask a different, more dangerous question. What if the human body wasn't designed for perfection? What if it was designed for compromise? And what if our obsession with correct posture and supportive shoes was actually making everything worse? The wait. What moment came from a series of simple, almost heretical observations? Scientists started studying populations that still live without chairs or modern shoes. Not just ancient tribes, but modern cultures like the Hadza in Tanzania or rural populations in Kenya. They watched how they moved. They measured their spines. They analyzed their gait. And they found something astonishing. These people didn't have perfect, pain-free backs. They had different backs. They squatted for hours, their spines in deep flexion. They sat on the ground, often with rounded lumbar curves. By Western ergonomic standards, they were doing everything wrong. They should have been crippled with disc herniations, but they weren't. Their rates of chronic back pain were a fraction of those in the industrialized world. The revelation was this: the human spine is not a fragile crystal vase. It is a robust, adaptable structure that evolved to move through a huge range of positions. The problem isn't sitting. It's sitting still, in the same damn position, for 8 hours a day. The chair isn't evil because it's a chair. It's evil because it allows, even encourages, paralysis. It turns a dynamic body into a statue. The same shocking truth emerged from the barefoot running movement. For years, runners were told they needed cushioning, arch support, and motion control to prevent injury. Then, researchers like Harvard's Daniel Lieberman studied barefoot runners in Kenya. They landed on the balls of their feet with a soft, springy step. Their legs acted as natural shock absorbers. When Western runners were forced to ditch their shoes and learn this gait, something bizarre happened. Their chronic knee pains, their shin splints, their plantar fasciitis often vanished. The proof wasn't just in the anecdotes. It was in the lab. Motion capture studies showed that a barefoot, 4-foot strike sends a softer, more predictable wave of force up the leg. The cushioned heel strike from a modern running shoe, however, creates a sharp, jarring impact that the body struggles to manage. The shoe wasn't solving a problem. It was creating a new one, and then selling a more expensive version of the problem back to us. The support was a cage that weakened the very structures it was meant to protect. And then, the archaeology sealed the deal. Look at the skeletal record. Pre-agricultural hunter-gatherers show incredibly strong, thick bones, especially in the lower body and feet. Their hip sockets are deep and robust. Their toe bones are straight and splayed. Compare that to skeletons from early agricultural societies and later from industrial cities. The bones get gracile, thinner. Arthritic changes appear in younger spines. Bunions show up in the fossil record alongside the rise of fashion footwear. One of the most visceral pieces of evidence comes from a place you'd never expect: the 77,000-year-old bedding found in South Africa's Sibutu Cave. It was made from sedge grass and leaves, including natural insect repellents. Our ancestors weren't sleeping on hard ground. They crafted comfort from the world around them, but that comfort was mobile, flexible, and close to the earth. It didn't immobilize them. It rested them so they could move better the next day. The difference is profound. We build comfort to escape our bodies. They built comfort to serve them. The final, heartbreaking experiment is one we're all running in real time. It's the involvement of Soviet-era silver fox domestication. Breed foxes for tameness alone, and within a few generations, their body shape changes. Their skulls get shorter, their tails curl, their ears flop. Selecting for one behavioral trait, docility, unlocked a whole suite of physical changes. Now, look at modern humans. Have we been unconsciously selecting for docile bodies? For bodies that tolerate chairs, that accept shoes, that don't rebel too loudly against stillness? The evidence is in our rounded shoulders, our weak glutes, our narrow, tender feet. We have, in a sense, domesticated ourselves. And the physical cost is the receipt for that transaction. So where does that leave you tonight, standing in your living room, looking at that comfortable couch? With a paradox. The killer comfort didn't destroy your body out of malice. It did so by offering a ceasefire in a war your body didn't know was over. Your lower back isn't screaming because it's broken. It's screaming because it's bored. Your feet aren't aching because they're flawed. They're aching because they're lonely for the earth. This isn't a call to burn your furniture and never wear shoes again. That's not the point. The point is to recognize the chair and the shoe for what they are, tools of convenience that come with a biological tax. And you can choose to pay that tax, or you can choose to rebel in small, daily ways. You can choose to sit on the floor to watch TV, letting your hips find their ancient range of motion. You can take your shoes off at the door and walk barefoot on your lawn for 5 minutes, letting those forgotten nerve endings wake up. You can set a timer to stand up and squat for 30 seconds every hour, reminding your glutes they still have a job. You can try a meeting walking, or take the stairs, or simply shift and fidget in your seat like a child. That fidgeting isn't rudeness. It's your spinal fluid begging for movement. It's your inner ancestor trying to stay ready for a threat that now only comes in the form of an email notification. The modern world will not change, but your relationship to it can. Every time you choose the harder floor over the softer cushion, you are sending a signal back through time. You are telling the part of you that remembers how to run, how to squat, how to feel the world directly, that it is not forgotten. You are not betraying your ancestors by enjoying comfort. You are honoring them by remembering you don't need it to survive. So tonight, when you finally sit down after a long day, feel that relief. But then, feel something else. Feel the ghost of your own strength, waiting just beneath the comfort. It is in the urge to shift your weight, to stretch your legs, to press your bare feet into the cool floor. That urge is not a nuisance. It is a 2 million-year-old memory, encoded in your very bones, whispering the same simple truth. You are still an animal built for Earth. And Earth is always there, right beneath you, waiting for you to come home.